All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today I'm back with another video here. I know I'm in a little bit of a different spot with the Flyers kind of being on the road and having like games and stuff. I'll be doing a lot of the videos here in my basement. Um, Unfortunately, the Flyers lose this game 2-1 in overtime to the Seattle Kraken. I mean, look, I think this game was what it was. It was kind of hard to really judge much of it, considering the Flyers they looked very tired, and they've said it multiple times on the broadcast that the flu or a bug has been going around. So I'm assuming that that's obviously affecting a ton of guys. And Konechny, they said last night he kind of left mid period in the beginning of the third because of that. I'm assuming it's affecting other players as well. So for them to, I mean, they basically just battled in this game really just to get to overtime, and that was what it felt like. I mean, they really didn't have much of a push. I thought they had a good first period. The 40 minutes after that were kind of just battling it, to be honest, and that's fine. I mean, when you have games like this and you have a tough schedule, and I mean, this is not an easy trip to go into out of the break, especially with 3 and 4 and then a 4 and 6, once we get into Calgary and Edmonton. But I mean, to get 3 out of a possible 4 points on this 2-game swing, and again, a really solid win last night, and I'm not too mad with getting a point in tonight's game, especially because it wasn't a horrible effort. I thought there were some good moments in this one. It was just the overall process wasn't really there. So lines were exactly the same. Tippett, Couturier, Konechny, Forrester, Frost, Atkinson, Farabee, Paling, and Brink, and then Delorier, Lawton, Hathaway. Defense, York, Sanheim, Sealer, Walker, Zamula, Ristolainen. Only thing that was different was Carter Hart was in net. All the lines and everything else. And if Hart were to win this game, obviously he doesn't, but the next win for Hart, that will pass him over Wayne Stevenson for 4th all time in wins as a Flyers goaltender with 94. Stevenson is 93, and then Steve Mason is 3rd on that list with 104. So, I mean, again, like I said, it was kind of a back and forth, first period. I thought there were chances for both teams. Flyers get a power play early here. They didn't really do much with it. Frost had a chance in tight. They had a good look in tight from Tippett as well. They moved the puck. I thought Zamula made a couple really nice plays, poised, getting the puck on net. Obviously scored last night. He definitely has some confidence with that. You clearly can tell. So I think it's been good to see with Z too, because they've used everybody. I mean, they've used Sanheim, they've used Walker, they've used York, they've used Ristolainen, and now they use Zamula. So I'm fine with using a different quarterback. I don't love the idea of always changing the unit, though. You know what I mean? Like, I like to see different variety of quarterbacks, especially when you're trying to figure stuff out. But I think part of the problem of why the power play has had its struggles is because they haven't really had anybody set up in the exact same spot all the time. So that's been the one unfortunate thing. But Sealer, as we kind of get into the rest of the game here, Sealer had a nice play on a 2-on-1. Farabee with a breakaway. It was a nice move on Decord, who I thought was pretty good for the Kraken tonight. Yamamoto had a chance in the slot a couple seconds before that. It felt like the Kraken had a ton of chances on the trailer in the slot, like whatever the system that they were running. It seemed like that they at least had that at least one forward would kind of sit a little higher in the zone and would have a chance in the slot, and it happened a couple times tonight. Flyers kind of defended that a little bit well, I thought, as the game kind of went on, and it kind of fizzled out. But they had a couple of chances in the first period there. Kraken get a power play. It was a high stick on Farabee. Travis Konechny 1-0 shorthanded goal. 9th shorthanded goal of the year for the Flyers. It was a good penalty kill overall, but obviously the goal. I mean, him and Lawton are so deadly on the penalty kill. Again, and you get the lead, you go into the second period, you want to be able to close that one out, right? And I thought the second period, I thought they had a couple good shifts early in the offensive zone. I thought it was just a back and forth game. I thought the Flyers blocked a ton of shots. The fourth line was bad tonight. There are, again, I've said this before, the fourth line either has a swing of two different things, in my opinion. It's either they have some really good shifts, some good momentum shifts, they get in, they score some goals, or if it's shorthanded or whatever, they have any sort of momentum play that helps the Flyers positively. And then there are times when it's games like tonight where they are just horrific and they're stuck in their own end. They can't get the puck out. They lose draws, whatever you want to call it, right? They're just kind of stuck in their own zone. And they've gotten hemmed in, I think, a lot recently. And I think the Flyers' process has kind of dwindled a tad in the last couple of games. Obviously, with, again, like I said, the travel, the break, kind of being all over the place. I mean, this is their third Western trip in the span of what, maybe like a month and a half, maybe a little over. Yeah, probably close to that. Probably a little bit over that, honestly. I don't know the exact dates, but I mean, they went them to California in the middle of early-ish November. And then they went back out west. They had the Arizona, Colorado, Nashville one, and then came home for a bit. Now they had break, and then they go back out. They went to Detroit for the game. Like, they haven't had necessarily the easiest travel schedule, and there's obviously been a lot of mixed practice days and some random days where they've said, oh, practice, and then it gets moved back an hour, or they've said practice, or then it gets just kind of canceled, like, or it's optional or whatever. Like, they haven't had really a ton of practice days, this year, and really recently, I guess I should say. So I think that's part of it too. And, again, like I said, with the bug and everything else, I mean, just to get a point out of this game is huge. And I think that's what I've kind of been saying all year with this team, is that there's a response. You know what I mean? Like, there's a response, there's a effort, there's always an effort, and there's always a specific thing that happens. The Flyers have some sort of response towards it. If it's a goal, a hit, a fight, a save, a scoring chance, whatever, they kind of wake up, and they've been able to score. And unfortunately, they only get one goal tonight. But again, like I said, I mean, in recent games, they've been able to get goals from kind of, every line. They get a power play goal and a shorthanded goal last game. Walker gets on, two defensemen get on the board. Hathaway gets on the board. Obviously Farabee in the middle there in Vancouver. And then tonight they get one from KRAKEN, who's been, great all season. So, I mean, look, they've been able to get goals from everybody. It's just sometimes you're just not always going to have that process, right? And that 100% effort. And I'm not even saying that they didn't have a bad effort. It's just with everything that's going on and the flu bug and everything else, that's part of why they look so sloppy tonight, in my opinion. It was just kind of how the game went. And I thought Hart made some really good saves. I thought he was very good as well. I mean, Hart, he was the reason it was 1-0 for a good chunk of this game. They really sat back late in the second period. Then they get a power play. It was too many men, which I thought it was. I thought that when they called it on Tatar, I was assuming that it was him playing the puck, because I noticed it. I mean, he played the puck with a stick sitting on the bench, and that wasn't it. They called too many men. So, hey, it doesn't matter. The Flyers didn't really have the best power play there. Hartman, again, like I said, made some really good saves, and they go into the third period. KRAKEN were buzzing. I had no idea how it was still 1-0. Then they get a power play. It was a hook on Forster. I really don't love that call, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm not trying to blame the refs here, but that's a very ticky-tack call, especially when Lawton got away with a clear cross-check. If you're going to call something, call that at least. I mean, that was a penalty. Flyers did get away with one, and then they called the ticky-tack hook or slash, whatever you really want to call it. It was more, they called it a hook. I thought it was more of a hook. Some may think it was a slash, whatever it was. I didn't really think it was penalty. They call it anyway, and 1-1, Dunn scores. It deflects off of Sealer's glove and goes in. And for Sealer, who's blocked a ton of shots, he's probably going to block over 200 on the season. 1-1 and ends up going in. I mean, it was going to happen eventually. It was just, how did they respond? And I thought they had a couple good shifts. They do get a power play again, and they don't get any goals on it. Frost created 4 scoring chances, a couple shots from the point, one from Tippett on the circle, on the right flank. And then you had York with a couple from the point. Again, they retrieved pucks. They got pucks back to the point. Frost, again, like I said, he created a ton on that one, and they were just kind of surviving. It was their 5th overtime in their last 8 games. And again, like I said, all the travel, the sickness and the break, and then going out west again and everything, it all adds up. And it's a ton to deal with. And then that's why I think it's part of this whole thing with the Flyers and how they've been playing and all that stuff. That's why it's been so impressive, because they've gone through so much of little battles of adversity with schedule and sickness and everything, that it's kind of made them look better. And they it hasn't really seemed to phase them. Obviously, outside of tonight's game, is more what I'm talking about here. But still, I mean, Schultz ends up getting the game winner. It was kind of a broken play. Paling was stuck on the ice, and that was unfortunately all she wrote for this one. But listen, I mean, there's nothing to get too upset about. It is what it is. Games like this are going to happen, and when you're kind of just fighting, and again, to get a point and to have a really solid win last night against Vancouver, and now you get a day off. You go into Calgary. You'll see what the Flyers can do there New Year's Eve, and then you got what's that? Another day off, and then you're back at it against Edmonton. So we'll see. It should be interesting. Thanks everybody again for all the support as always. Make sure you check out Maher Media and all the stuff that we do here on either Twitter or YouTube, wherever you're watching this, and then Instagram, everywhere else that we have social media, Facebook, TikTok, everything. Thanks everybody again for all the support as always. My name is Chris, and I will talk to you all again soon.